Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into something that, well, it affects every single one of us. The art of connection. And how to do it in a world that can sometimes feel pretty disconnected.
Okay, so let's just jump right in with a pretty bold statement from our source material. Every single relationship, from the person who makes your coffee to your closest family member, is driven by need. Now, I know that might sound kind of transactional or cynical, but stick with me. It's not. It's just a core piece of what makes us human.
And look, this isn't just some abstract idea. The stakes are incredibly high here. Research consistently shows that our mental health is deeply tied to how connected we feel. Long-term solitude isn't just about being lonely. It can be seriously damaging.
So that really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? In a world that seems designed to pull us apart, how do we fight back and intentionally build healthy, meaningful connections? Well, today, we're going to unpack a powerful framework to help you do just that.
First things first, let's put a name to the problem we're all wrestling with. It's a real paradox of our time. It's this weird thing, right? We have more freedom, more independence than any other generation in history. But that's come with a strange side effect. Our intense focus on the individual can actually lead straight to isolation, taking away that safety net that tight-knit communities used to just provide.
And this story just perfectly captures that shift. We don't have to put up with a difficult neighbor anymore because we need them to grab our mail. We just pay for a service to do it. Our connections have become less about relying on each other and more about simple, clean transactions.
Okay, so where do we even begin to fix this? Well, what's so interesting is that the source material says the solution doesn't start by looking at other people. It starts with the one relationship that every other connection is built on, the one you have with yourself.
You see, a healthy relationship with yourself is all about one thing: authenticity. It's about closing that gap between who you really are on the inside and the version of yourself you show to the world. The smaller that gap is, the more secure and worthy you feel.
And this is absolutely key. We have to build real self-belief, not just ego. And our source gives us this beautifully simple distinction. Confidence is believing in an ability you actually have. Arrogance, that's believing in an ability you don't. Simple as that. We don't figure out who we are just by sitting alone in a room. We actually discover ourselves in our interactions with other people. A wise person doesn't see a flaw in the mirror and then break the mirror. No, they use that reflection to make an adjustment, to improve.
But here's the trap. If you start relying only on what other people think of you for your self-worth, it's incredibly fragile. The source uses this amazing metaphor. It's like you're a balloon, all puffed up by praise, just floating towards a needle factory of criticism. One sharp comment, and pop!
All right, so let's say you've got that solid foundation with yourself. How does that actually play out in your relationships with other people? Well, that brings us to what we can call the currency of connection, the actual value that gets exchanged between us.
Okay, so our source gives us this really handy diagnostic tool, splitting relationships into 4 types. And as I go through these, I want you to think about your own connections. Is a relationship living? Is it growing and nurtured? Is it sick, where the main goal is just to avoid blaming each other? Or is it sickening, where it's just draining you more than it gives back? Or has it become dead, where it just exists on paper with no real spark left?
And this brings us right back to where we started. That idea that all relationships are driven by need. Seeing it this way isn't cynical, it's just realistic. The glue that holds us together is this mutual give and take. We connect with people because we meet each other's needs.
Okay, so we've got a handle on ourselves. We understand this currency of connection. Now, how do we actually use this stuff to navigate the very real, very unique challenges of life today?
I want you to imagine something. Imagine we're all on this high-speed train. Modern life, right? It's taking us to amazing places, but it's also kicking up all this stuff, this social pollution, this waste that we're breathing in without even realizing it's harming our ability to connect.
So, the source pinpoints 3 specific pollutants. First, there's individualism, where we get so focused on ourselves we end up on our own little islands. Then there's contractualism, where our relationships become all about rules and transactions, and we lose that human kindness. And finally, dehumanization, where people just become numbers, tasks, or obstacles in a system. And think about this, it's a perfect, everyday example of that dehumanization in action. We literally give a delivery driver 5 stars for being fast and anonymous, for not having a human moment with us. The system actually discourages the little interactions that create real connection.
Look, I know this can all sound a little heavy, maybe even a bit daunting, but here's the final and honestly the most important point of all. In the face of all this, you always have a choice.
Think about it. When a relationship hits a rough patch, what's our first instinct? Usually it's to find someone to blame, right? To point the finger and say, it's your fault. It's just a natural defense mechanism.
But here's where our source offers this really radical shift in how we think about this. The responsibility, it says, doesn't lie with who's right or wrong. It lies with the person who has the wisdom to see the bigger picture and react differently, the one who's able to break that cycle of blame.
And this quote just nails the ultimate takeaway. Your real power isn't in controlling what other people do. No way. It's in that tiny little space between what they do and how you react. That space is where you interpret what happened. That's where all your power is. So, as we wrap this up, the big question isn't just, hey, what did I learn? It's, what am I going to do with this? So I'll leave you with this, thinking about everything we've talked about. What is just one relationship in your life that you can choose to improve? Right now, today.